Recently, I finished reading this book for the second time, Atomic Habits by James Clear. It's a really great book and I learned a lot of things when I read it for the first time. And actually, I started implementing some of these lessons and actually the result was really great. So I decided to read it for the second time and learn a lot more from this book. So in this video, I want to walk you through all the lessons I learned and I want to do it in a way that you won't forget about all these tips and lessons. So here I try to come up with a really cool flowchart with all the tips and all the important lessons using flowboard.com. So let's get started. First of all, the book starts with a story about the personal background of James Clear, and it shows how he achieved all these tips and all the lessons he learned from his life. The main story is that he had a really bad accident when he was playing baseball. He was hit in the face with a baseball bat and then suddenly he stopped breathing and slipped into a coma. He had a lot of injuries and then it took a lot of time and effort for him to do the recovery and to come back to real life. So he tried to overcome all the limitations and start doing the same things but building good habits. So first of all, he started with building good sleep habits and also study habits. The result was that he became top student in his university and also became the top male baseball player during that time. He learned a lot of things, and as a novel says about writing a good book is that to write a great book, you must first become the book. So here James Clear is going to talk about everything he learned from his own life, and actually he tried to implement everything in his own life, and also he has a lot of students all over the world and a lot of these people have tried all these lessons and tips. Then in the second part of the book, he wants to show you why we need atomic habits and what it means by atomic habits. So first of all, he starts with a story, really great story about cycling team in Great Britain. And it says that for 110 years, no British cyclist had ever won a single medal. So they hired a new coach called Brace Ford. His idea was like this, that he wanted to improve everything only by 1% everywhere he could apply. So like how the cyclists sleep, what kind of soap they use, what kind of shampoo they use, everything about the bicycles. If he can improve the tires for 1%, if he can improve the structure just by 1%, everything else that he could touch, he wanted to try to improve it just a little bit. So if you put all these things together, in the end, the result was really great. Another example of basically atomic habits or small habits that you can apply everywhere, and the final result is gathering all these small pieces. For instance, there is a note here. It says that if a pilot leaving Los Angeles airport adjusts just 3.5 degrees south, you will land in Washington, D.C. instead of New York. It shows that even a small change in the direction, in the end, for a long distance, it's going to be a huge difference. We also know this effect as compound effect. So basically, atomic habits is simply the compound effect. Basically, it's the compounding effect, all of these small changes and small habits that eventually result in a good outcome. But there is a really big problem here when you want to apply compound effect or if you want to have atomic habits and if you want to improve yourself step by step, 1% by 1%, there is one problem. The problem is that it's called valley of disappointment. It means that you start doing something. For instance, if you want to do YouTube, if you want to be an influencer on Instagram, you start creating videos step by step. You create a video today, create another video tomorrow. You do it for 1 week, but after 1 week, when you don't see the result, you just get disappointed. You are worried that maybe I'm not in the right direction, so I need to change it. I need to do something else. And all these ideas and thoughts that come to our minds. So it's called Valley of Disappointment. This book is going to talk about some tips and lessons how to overcome these kind of feelings. So one important message here to basically overcome all of these disappointments along the way is that in the modern society, when you want to get the reward, it takes time. So instead of focusing on the goal itself and trying to think about the goal all the time, for instance, if you start thinking about, well, I want to make money from my YouTube, I want to have 1,000 subscribers, all these things that could happen after 1 or 2 years. Along the way, you could get disappointment if you continuously think about all these things. But instead, if you focus on just creating videos, and if you enjoy creating videos, that's all you need to have, and you don't have to worry about the future of your channel. Okay, because already you have your rewards and your feedbacks. You are already enjoying what you're doing. Okay, that's the most important thing. So forget about goals, focus and enjoy system instead. So there is another lesson here, and it's a bit different. So it says that instead of thinking about the goal and thinking about the outcome, try to come up with a habit based on identity habit. There is an example here. When somebody offers you smoke, the first answer could be, no thanks, I'm trying to quit. This is the answer we usually come up with. But the actual and true answer is that the moment you decided you don't want to smoke, it doesn't matter if it's 1 day or 2 days or 3 days or 6 months, the moment you decided you want to quit smoking, you're not a smoker anymore. Okay, so you just need to say, no thanks, I'm not a smoker. It could be same thing for being a YouTuber. So if you want to be a YouTuber, just say that I'm a YouTuber. Don't say that I'm trying to create videos and I'm trying to be a YouTuber. The moment you decide you want to do this, you're that. So the goal is not to read a book. The goal is to become a reader. So it doesn't matter if you have already read tens of books. What's important here is that the moment you decide that you want to read books, you're a reader. Just plant this idea in your mind, and that's the whole point of this. Now let's take a look at the science behind habits and the steps that actually we can have a new habit or we can quit a bad habit. So first of all, we have cue, and it means that, so there is an example here. So your phone buzzes with a new text message. That's the cue. So my phone is here and I noticed that it's buzzing and I noticed that there is a message here. So now the next step is craving. You want to learn the content of the message. When I see my phone is buzzing, I want to know desperately to know what is in the message. What's the notification about? And the next step is response. You grab your phone and read the text. And the final part is reward. You are now satisfied by reading the message. And this is the 4 steps of having a habit. And that was basically the second part of the book. And then we have 4 laws in the book that basically it's make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying when you want to create a good habit or when you want to quit a bad habit. So if we take a look at the whole thing here, we can start from the first law, make it obvious. So here there is a good tip to actually earning a new habit. We usually don't do things, and when we decide to do a new habit, we don't do it actually, and the reason is that because we're not really specific about that. We need to come up with a lot of details about what we want to do. Some of the details about that is time, location, and the behavior itself. So for instance, I want to learn Spanish, so I need to specifically say that I will study Spanish for 20 minutes at 6 p.m. in my bedroom. And even you can specify the days of the week. I mean, Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday. These days I want to study for 20 minutes at 6 p.m. in my bedroom. And now there is another method. It's pretty much similar to this, but it's more advanced. So it says that you currently have a habit, so you can stack or attach another habit after that. So it makes it a lot easier for you to do the new habit. So for instance, after I take off my work shoes, I will immediately change into my workout clothes. When I want to grab my cup of coffee, I do 10 push-ups all the time, no matter where I am. Now let's Go to the next part. So the next part, it says that environment matters. Now, what it means by environment matters. So there was an experiment in a general hospital in Boston. They wanted to motivate people to drink more water than soda. So instead of talking to people and asking them directly not to drink soda and try to drink more water, instead of doing that, they did a really simple change in the arrangement of different drinks. So they made water more available. They have water in the front room, they have water around the kitchen, they have water everywhere, but they limited the access to soda. And there was only one place, one refrigerator for the sodas, and it was in the back of the kitchen, back of the restaurant. And the result was amazing, and actually people started to drink more water without even a single soul saying anything. Another tip to have a new habit is you need to tie your habit with a new place. For instance, it's really hard to read a book where you always play video games. So if you want to start reading book, try to come up with a new place at your apartment. Like go to another room for reading books. Or for instance, if you only have one room, just say that when I want to study, I go over there, I sit in the corner and all the books are in the corner. I place them, I create a shelf there, and that way I become conditional about reading books. And whenever I want to read a book, I'll go there. And whenever I go there, in that room, in that corner, my mind knows that you need to start reading books. If you want to drink more water, place a bottle somewhere close. It's another example. Also, another tip in this book is that, well, everything is not about self-control. There are a lot of people telling you that it's your decision. If you want, you can do it. But it's not always like this. There was an investigation about all the soldiers went to Vietnam for the war. And it shows that 9 out of 10 addicted soldiers in Vietnam eliminated their addiction when they got back home. It shows that it's not about self-control and it's not about deciding yourself. The moment you change your place, you can automatically quit your bad habits or you can earn new good habits. So environment matters. And that was basically about the first law, which is make it obvious. Now let's go to the second law. Make it attractive. So there's a biological fact here. We have the brains of our ancestors, but temptations they never had to face. So the problem here nowadays we have with social media, with online porn, with advertisement, these are our new things to our brains because the speed of growing technology is not comparable to the speed of evolution. So this is the problem we have in comparison to people in like thousands years ago, 10,000 years ago. And for that reason, we need to come up with some real tips and tricks to adopt new good habits and quit bad habits. One important thing about brain is dopamine. Dopamine is a really big part of everything we're doing, and it's basically a rewarding system. If you're doing something continuously, it means that it's higher level of dopamine in your brain whenever you do some activity. When you don't want to do something, it means that there is no reward, there is no dopamine. I really don't know that much about dopamine level, but I'm just trying to share everything I learned from this book. So be careful about these parts. Now to increase dopamine level and to get more reward, we can stack all the habits together. This is another stacking trick we can have. So after current habit, I will do habit I need. After habit I need, I will do habit I want. So for instance, after I pull out my phone, I will do 10 push-ups. And after I do 10 push-ups, I will check Instagram. The Instagram part brings the reward for us. It increases the dopamine level. But when we want to do the push-ups, because the reward is not so close and you will see the result in years, maybe in 10 years you will have a good body, but you don't see it immediately. So what you can do, you can put the habit you want to have, you need to have, you can place it in the middle of the habit you currently have. You just want to grab your phone and then you want to check Instagram because it feels good, because it makes you to have a higher dopamine level. You just place your habit in the middle of that. We all have heard about this, that you are the average of 5 people around you. It's true to some extent because it's not necessarily about people. It's about books around you, about what pages you follow, what influencers you follow on the internet, what books you read, about the friends you have, about colleagues you have, about everything that you listen and hear. It's not only about the people around you, it's not only about your family, it's not only about your friends. So when somebody says that you're average of 5 people around you, it means that all the ideas that come to your mind, all those ideas basically decide how you will be. So surround yourself with people who have the habits you want to have. And as I said, it's only about people. It could be about books. So if you want to start a business, you need to start reading business related books. Reading a biology book, it could be a little bit good, but in the end, you need to have stuff related to what you want to do. Okay, that's it from law number 2. And now it's time to focus on third law, which is make it easy. And here, by make it easy, it means that don't make it complicated. If you want to learn a new habit, don't make it complicated. For instance, there was an experiment in a photography class, don't know which university, but well, students were divided into 2 groups. First group was asked to take as many photos as they can. But for the second group, they asked them to just take only one good photo. So the result was that the first group who took as many photos as they can, they earned more scores. This result shows that if you do something over and over and over and over, you become better and better and better at that. So if you want to just wait for the right moment and the perfect moment to do something, it's not gonna happen. So instead of waiting for the right moment, if you want to be a YouTuber, if you want to create your company, if you want to start your startup, and whatever you want to do, start with a really small step and just continue that. Do it over and over. Quantity beats quality. And another tip from this book is that make it hard for bad habits. So for instance, if you want to focus on your work, just leave your phone in another room. That's the simplest thing you can do. And also, you can make it easy for good habits. A simple example is that if you want to read books, you don't have to read a whole chapter or 10 pages every night. You can say that I just need to open my book and then read a paragraph. That's all for tonight. If I feel sleepy, I just go to the bed. I don't push it any further. Or if you want to write an article, if you want to write a blog post, or if you want to write your own book, just open your notepad or your notebook and just open it and then start writing or typing a couple of sentences. That's all you need to do. It only takes like 2 minutes, 3 minutes to do that. And I tried this over and over, and whenever I just start something, for instance, this video, I was really lazy today to do this YouTube and there were a lot of problems. Eventually I told myself, I'm gonna do it whether it's going to be good or bad, I would do it. And find a gym at your way home is another tip, for instance, if you want to go to gym. So if your office is at one side of the city and the gym you want to go is the other side of the city, well, it's really difficult for you to do that. But if you choose a gym along the way when you want to get home, it makes it a lot easier for you to do that. So that was for third law, make it easy. And fourth law, it says make it satisfying. And it's related to dopamine level and reward. So it says that for our ancestors, most of their decisions have an immediate impact. That's true. They didn't have a lot of worries in life. They just wanted something to eat, they wanted to have sex, and they wanted to just survive for today. The goal was really short. The goal was just for today. They didn't have to plan for the next few years. So our brain still is like our ancestors, but the modern society is completely different. So we need to come up with some tools and tricks to overcome this limitation. So in modern life, we have delayed return environment. So what should we do? As I told you, the best thing to do is just enjoy the process. Whatever you're doing, do it in a way that you enjoy it and get the reward from doing that, not the result of that. For instance, habit tracking is one simple thing you can do to have the reward so quickly and immediately. Like if you do something, if you do some push-ups, if you read books, if you working on something, just write down whatever you're doing. You can use a calendar for that. And as soon as you look at that list, look at the calendar that you have marked a lot of days doing that stuff, it feels good and it brings you some level of dopamine and some level of satisfaction. And the final lesson from this book is that find your own game which you are good at. And it means that there are a lot of things we can't do, and this is the limitation of our biology, limitation of our physical capabilities. Whatever the reason is, that you are limited in some areas but you are really good in some other areas. So try to try different things and then find your own game. And that was basically the whole idea of Atomic Habits by James Clear. And I tried to post a link for this flowchart here. You can simply import it here in flowboard.com, so you can have it always. You can, if you want to know about the book really quickly, you can just take a look at this board here. But that was it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. See you next time. Bye bye.